look at 4 color cards made in Germany and sent in 1907, 08, 09, and 010. First we have Northeast from College Tower, featuring Walker Hall and Grosvenor in the foreground, and the Pelham Hills in the background. The correspondent has written, "The arrow shows where I stay." Let's see what that is. It's a good time too. Second, we are reminded of our compulsory swim as a freshman in the Pratt pool. The printed caption reads, "Natatorium Interior." Third, in Amherst Center, Amherst, Mass., we approach the center of town from the south, with carriages lining the sidewalk and a trolley ahead of us. Fourth, we return to the Pratt Gymnasium. In the basement was located the natatorium then. This is the first of 3 Amherst novelty cards that I will show, none of which was sent through the mail. Made in Germany, the color card was distributed by the Metropolitan News Company of Boston sometime before 1910. The Germans were famous for producing Gruß aus, or greetings from cards in the 19th century. This greeting card is a collage where 12 postcards of Amherst, Mass. In miniature have been placed together to form an A for Amherst. Photographs depicting buildings and scenes from the college, the agricultural college, and the town, including the town hall. The Amherst Town Hall is featured in a cutout insert into the Amherst Record daily newspaper of September 1906, at a time when a 10-pound bag of fancy sweet potatoes sold for a quarter. The unused card with the fancy pre-Photoshop technology was printed in Germany. A third novelty card in a color drawing rather than a photograph. In the center, the Amherst pennant, but not with the colors of the college. In the background on the upper left is a windmill, not a familiar structure in the Amherst countryside. The text reads, "I have mine hands full in Amherst and I am full mit happiness." On the verso is printed, "Made in USA." Undoubtedly, a series of similar cards was printed with a different town featured on a wavy pennant. Old car addicts could guess at the year and make of the automobile. The dress of the people and the windmill suggest Holland, but the text reads German. Are these 2 motorists immigrants, a poster couple with a success story to send back to the old country? Meanwhile, back at the Amherst College campus, here is the robed faculty preparing for a solemn occasion. The bare trees make one doubt it is early summer and commencement. Rather, it's the inauguration of President Alexander Micheljohn, October 16, 1912. 5 vehicles of the same vintage as in the last card have been parked. A carriage drawn by 2 horses is visible. The gowned faculty is slowly walking forward. A hatted mother is patiently explaining the meaning of the ceremony to her daughter in a wrought iron baby carriage in the lower left. Students are lined up along the west side of South Pleasant Street in front of College Hall and the library. Rows of parents are standing behind them and filling up the steps in front of College Hall.
Steve,
Yeah.
looking at the tree, do you really think it's October?
Well, we'll see later that another Amherst graduate has a much more extensive collection of postcards, a lot more than I have, and he has done a very credible job of documenting them. And there is a color card as well as a black and white card of the Micheljohn inauguration. So
Well, what, you know the date of the inauguration?
October 16th. Right. So the oldest photos in the lot display the earliest copyright date of 1901. They depict Johnson Chapel and South Dormitory, the earliest row of college buildings constructed in the 1820s. One card was sent to Marathon, New York in 1904, and the other written in 1905, but not sent, containing messages referring to the old tower and the old campus. These correspondence must go way back themselves. One pens a poem with a third reference to old. The chapel tower was seen to rock when someone yelled, "Who was Old Doc? First in war, first in peace, first in the hearts of his countrymen." Now, this quotation, borrowed from a eulogy for George Washington, is being applied to Old Doc. The ditty refers to beloved Edward Doc Hitchcock, the class of 1849, who served for 50 years as Amherst Professor of Hygiene and Physical Education and as college physician and dean. With the now familiar green 1-cent Ben Franklin stamp, we have one card sent to the New York City and one to Washington, D.C., one in 1905, one in 1906. Let's turn the cards over. Walker Hall from the back and the front in black and white, and then in color. The later message reads, "Dear Helen, this is the main recitation building in the college. It is gray, made out of stone, not the yellow that it looks like in this picture. It's the prettiest building in Amherst. The original Walker Hall was built in 1870 out of granite from Monson, Maine. It housed the president's office, math and philosophy departments, among others. The largest and most elaborate building on campus. It burned in 1882. This is the second building, modeled after the first, in revised medieval style. Here are two pictures of the President's House, built in 1835, and Morgan Library, from 1905 and 1907. From the same angle. One picture was taken when the trees were bare, the other fully leaved. We find a short verse underneath the card sent in 1905. "When this you see, remember me." Signed H. Under the card sent in 1907, "Dear Aunt, send postal to let you know that if it is pleasant and nothing happens, I will be over Thursday morning. Olive." A century later, postcards rarely served for poetry or giving notice of an approaching visit. A postcard sent to New Haven in 1906 and one to Taunton in 1907, both postmarked in Amherst. On the first, "I often think of you and am going to write soon." A postcard message often served to defer writing a letter. These two black and white cards show views of South Pleasant Street. The view of Merchants Row we earlier saw in color. The New Haven postal clerk applied the cancels stamp on the wrong side and it comes up upside down. The upper card was sent from Connecticut to Rhode Island in 1907, from Ethel to Elizabeth Green. The message cites racing across campus to catch a train in Amherst. The lower card was sent from Annie Whitaker in Amherst to Mrs. Giles in Athol, 1909. The message evokes enjoying trolley trips around Amherst. Trains and trolleys, two means of transportation in Amherst belonging to a bygone era. On top, the card showing the campus, including Williston Tower, and on the bottom, the 1908 card showing College Hall with a group of dressed up people in front. College Hall was built in 1829 as a meeting house for the first parish. It was renovated in 1905. Converse Memorial Library, built in 1916. In front of it, in this picture, sits prominently a Model T Ford, most likely of the 1917 vintage, given the oval-shaped window in the back. Here is a close-up. Does anybody know whose car it was? Floyd? Any idea? The card was not sent through the mail. It was produced by L.G. Treadway, who would become managing director of the Lord Jeff when it opened in 1926. The College Observatory, built in 1905 after design by McKim, Mead, and White. The card was sent to Providence in 1907.